Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, all. Welcome to Surup IT Learning Solutions. So, we are currently learning a video series for how to install and configure Linux Mint version 22. So, this is the part 6 and the final part of this particular video series. So, we will practically execute following steps in this particular part 6 video. So first is top 25 useful Linux Mint commands. So we will see what are the most useful commands in Linux Mint. Top 25 I have just shortlisted, and then secondly we will see how to configure our Linux Mint for booting in default command line, that is terminal mode for secure shell environment. Okay, so these two major parts we will cover in this particular part 6 video. So let's start. So first command is apt. Okay, so let me go back to my Linux machine, Linux Mint machine. Let me open the terminal window. Okay, so we will practically see each command in detail. So first command is apt. Okay, so what does it use for? The usage of this command is used for managing or installing or upgrading or removing Linux distribution packages or updates or upgrades. Okay, so in the previous parts, if you have seen part 1 2 3 4 5, we have used this command for installing many particular packages, updates or upgrades, right? Sudo apt install. So I will just give you one simple example over here. So example is sudo apt install finger. What does that mean? Sudo means the super user, means if the normal user is not having access or permission to install any package, so you can always start with the sudo, then the actual command apt, then after that the option. Here we are using the option install. You can choose the option as update, or you can choose the option as upgrade if you are updating or upgrading something. But here we are installing one simple command line utility called finger. Okay, so I'm doing it right away. We will be using this finger command later on, because I need to show you one thing. Just a minute. If I'm putting finger over here, so you can see over command finger not found but can be installed with sudo apt install finger, right? So I'm just doing the same thing right now. So sudo apt install and finger. So this serves two purposes. So first is I'm showing you how to use the apt command also, and second thing, it is installing our finger command also, which we will be seeing in the upcoming part. So now I'm installing it, and this is done, right? So this is how you can use the apt command. There are other options also. I'm just showing you the most usable or the most basic options for each command. You can learn more about these commands, whichever options are there, through searching your Google or searching your official support sites for Linux Mint operating systems or Linux operating systems. Okay, so this is the first command what we have learned, that is apt. Okay, let's go back to our ppt. The command 2, it's bc. This is one small what do you say, interesting command or utility I have found, that's why I have just included it. So what is bc? So it is basically a terminal mode calculator. You can say background calculator, maybe a full form. Just joking, I don't know the full form exactly officially, but it is a calculator you can use through your terminal session. So simple utility. So example is just you have to just type BC and enter, and then it will start the calculator mode. So I'm just going back to my terminal, just putting BC, enter. So nothing will happen, the cursor starts blinking over here. First of all, this particular warranty and other things are just showing you about this utility. So if I'm putting a simple calculation over here, let's say 19875 into 3879. So this is the result, and same way I can do this is a multiplication, then I can do whatever the other functions also, like division and all. So let's say 75432 divided by 65. Oh, 1175. So this way you can use the calculator, on screen calculator, with its all the functions. So for coming out of it, control C is not working, no problem, so we will type quit, it should work. Okay, so this is one small useful utility for the calculator purpose. Let's move on to the next command. So as I said, enter any math calculation and enter. We have already tested that. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Now the third command is also a small utility, very interesting. It is showing the on-screen calendar, right? So usage is shows on-screen calendar for particular year, also for a current calendar also. So if I'm putting, let's say, cal, it will, okay, so first of all it is asking us to install it, so we will install it. Sudo apt install ncal, right? So let it install. Okay, I'll clear the screen. Now I will put cal. Okay, so I'm not putting any further option, so it is showing me the current month, that is January 2025. Okay, if I'm putting it like this, cal and then 2025, so it will show me the whole year's calendar. So I can maximize, you can see January, February up to the December one on screen only, I can show it. Likewise, I can put in any particular calendar, any year's calendar, like this. So this is a small but useful utility if you want to see the calendar. I found it interesting, that's why I've just included it in my list. Okay, so example we have already done, the cal and then 2025, it is showing me current whole year's calendar. Okay, let's move on to the next command. Next command is cat. Okay, so cat is a very important command for system administrators. So what is the usage for it? It displays the content of any particular file. Okay, now what will be our example for this? So cal and then any particular file's path, and then it will show you the contents of it. Okay, so what I'm doing is, before going for this command, I'll minimize this and let's create one small test file in the home folder. In the documents, I will create a test file, let's say through text editor. I will put some content in it. this. Okay, so I have just put in some 3-4 lines as an content. Why I have done that, we will come to know in the later part. So now I will save this file, go to the documents, and let's say test. Okay, test, save. Okay, now close this. Now this file is saved. If I am double clicking in it, it is opening as a text file. Okay, so now let's go back to our terminal window and let's test our command, right? So what was our command? Cat command. Okay, so coming back to my terminal window, putting cat and then path of my file. Remember one thing, Linux terminal window is case sensitive. If I am putting D in a small, so out of that document, this thing, it will not recognize that. Okay, again we have given the name as test and T capital, so I will put T and tab, so it will auto complete if the file exists. Okay, so now this is the command. Let's see if I'm hitting enter what it shows. And now you can see the content of this particular file. Whatever we have written over there, it is showing on the screen. Is a test file. Don't delete it, don't edit it or change it with unnecessary changes. We will use this file for testing purpose. Thanks for your understanding and all. So this is how you can use the cat command to see the actual content of any particular file. Okay, let's move on to the next command. So next command is chmod. It is a very useful command for changing the permission for any particular file. So I have just given this particular table so that you guys can understand what are the permission levels and all. So basically the numeric 755 is for read and write permission for everybody. Okay, so directory accessible by everyone but only writable by the owner. Then 644 file readable by everyone but can only be modified by owner. This is read, write, execute everything by owner. This is modification by owner, but it is read only for everyone else. And then file is readable and executable by anybody, that is 777. So numeric 755 644 777 and then read write 600 file can only be accessed by the owner, inaccessible to everyone else. So this is how you can set the permissions using the chmod command. Okay, so let's see what is the usage of this particular command first. So changes access permission to any file or directory for anyone or everyone. Okay, so before doing this particular command, what I'm doing is I'm going back to my test file. Here I will go to the properties and into permissions mode. Currently my owner is Linux admin, the file's owner. So and the access is read write. Over here also read write, and over here the access is read only. Okay, what I'm doing is I'm changing it to read only and read only. Okay, everything is read only now. Close this. You can see the lock icon is coming. Now let's try to change this permission using our command, that is chmod. First of all, clear this one, and let's see what command we need to enter over here. So example, so chmod 777/home/linux admin/documents/test. So what I'm doing is I'm changing this read only to read write for everyone. Okay, using this command. So let's see whether it is allow us to change that permission. So chmod 777, then I will go to that path. Okay, so chmod 777 and then the path of that particular file, hitting enter, nothing will happen. But now let's go back and check our permissions. Okay, so first of all, you can see that lock particular icon has disappeared, and now I'm going to the properties and going to the permissions, and you can see again it has given the read write permission to everyone. Allow executing file as a program also, means execution permission also it has given. Why it has given this permission? Because we have set this permission level as 777. That means read write execute by everyone. Okay, so I hope you understood this particular command. For more options, you can always use the man command, and for the websites also, the official support sites also, you can refer to this particular command's usage. Okay, so let's move on to our next command. So next command is cp. Cp means a simple copy command. You can copy the existing file on the same path or to some other part. So usage is moving or copying files from one directory to same or another directory. Okay, it's a simple command. So let's see how to use it. So example is cp, then original file path, and then file name, and then destination path and file name. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm going back to my terminal. Here I'm just putting cp and then /home, then path of my test file, and then documents and test. After this, I need to enter the destination path over here. So let's see, I want to copy this file onto same folder. What I'm doing is I'm giving the same path. I'm not giving the same name. What I'm doing is test underscore backup. Okay, some other name, because it will again if I'm giving the same name, it will maybe override the original one, so I don't want that. So let's see, this is completed, nothing will happen. Let's verify whether it has copied that particular file. Let me close this. You can see over here one more file has been created with the name test backup. Okay, this way I've just copied this file in the same folder. You can copy it to some other folder also. You can copy it to, let's say, your desktop or any other folder. Okay, so this is a simple copy command, that is cp. Okay, let's move on to the next command. Next is file. Now file command is basically giving us output of what type of file it is. Means after the file you need to paste the path of the file and file name, then it will give you the result that which type of file it is. Okay, so usage of it is displays the information about the type of file. Okay, so what I'm doing is, for the testing purpose, again let me just delete this first. For testing purpose, I'm copying one file from my mount folder. Okay, so I'm going to mount and I'm going to Linux resources, and let's say this is an Excel file, right? Microsoft Office Excel file. I'm copying this, going to documents and paste it over here. Okay, now this file has been copied. Now let us test our command. So I'm entering file and then just giving the path. You can type tab to complete those paths, otherwise it will take time to type everything. And then TO. So top 25 Linux commands XLS. Okay, now I'm hitting enter. Let's see what results it is giving. See, it is giving the results as Microsoft Excel 2007 plus, means any version after that this command, this particular file is compatible with that Excel version. Okay, so this is this particular file command is giving us the information that this is a Microsoft Excel file compatible with Office 2007 or afterwards. Okay, I hope I'm clear. So this is the command. So example we have already seen, file and then file path, so it will give you the result. Okay, let's move on to the next step. Next command is finger. Okay, so finger command, what it does, it displays all active sessions user summary. Okay, what kind of summary it is giving, let's see. First of all, let's see the example. Finger and just enter, so it will give you the current this thing. So if you remember, we have just installed that finger utility uh, while checking the first command, right? So now finger is installed, so I just need to type finger and enter. So now what information it is giving, it is giving information that my login account is Linux admin, my account name is also Linux admin but in caps, then my what is my TTI level, that is TTI 7, that is desktop environment. What are those TTI levels? I'm coming to that point at the end of this particular video. And then idle, that is what are the idle time, means I have not done anything but the account has been logged in or I have logged it. And then login time, date and time and other things. Okay, so this way this particular finger command is giving you the basic information about your currently logged in user. Okay, you can find the additional options also if you wish to. You can go through the official website, support website for Linux. Okay, so let's move on to the next command. Next command is hostname CTL. So I think this particular command we have already used in the previous videos, but this is a very useful command, that's why I have just included it in this particular list also. So host name CTL. So before entering this, let's check out the usage of it. So the usage is it displays the system information. Okay, and the example is simple, host name CTL. So I'm just putting enter and you can see over here it is showing me the host name, then icon name computer VM, chassis is virtual machine, machine ID is this, boot ID is this, virtualization means which virtualization platform also it is running, it is detecting that is Microsoft Hyper-V. Operating system is Linux Mint 22.1, it is detecting that also. And then kernel version, architecture, hardware vendor, hardware model, firmware version, firmware date, firmware age, and everything. So it is giving me a very useful system information. The command is hostname ctl. Okay, so let's clear this and let's proceed with the next command. So next command is history. Okay, now what do you mean by history? What is the usage of it? So it shows the current user's terminal sessions, command history. Whatever commands I have put in, by the time of the first login of my account, it will show all those accounts in my history particular command. Okay, so what is the usage of it? Simple, type history and press enter, so it will give me complete history. Okay, so I'm hitting enter now. Let's see what it is showing. So you can see over here my particular command history it is showing. I have used those many commands in the past or whatever this thing. And if you need to clear this history, let's say you don't want anyone to see your history, uh, of course you will not share your password, but in case, so if you want to clear this history for safety reason, so there is a simple command, history -c. C stands for clear, I think. And if I'm entering this, nothing will happen. But now let's again one more time put the command history. Okay, let's see what happened. You can see the previous history has been cleared. Okay, so this is one useful command. If you forgot particular command or something like that, then you can go for your history if you wish to. Okay, so let's move on to the next command. So note I have just put in to clear the command's history, type following command. So history -c. So this we have already seen how to do that. Next is ifconfig. Many of you must be knowing this, but if somebody is not knowing it, ifconfig or ifconfig is equal to your ipconfig in Windows. So if I am putting ifconfig, so it will give me, before hitting enter, let's see what is the explanation for this. So displays the system's network configuration. So, and the example is simple, ifconfig enter, and then if config, and now it is showing me that I do have two Ethernet adapters. First one is a local one and it is having this IP 10.1.1.142. Second one is internet access, but it's having a NAT IP or router IP, so 192.168.0.107. Okay, so other informations are like how many packets are been sent, how many dropped, how many received, and everything. Okay, so it's a basic network configuration. It is showing with the command ifconfig. Okay, let's move on to the next step. Next command number 12 is locate. Now this is very useful command for locating any particular file. Let's say you remember the file name but you don't remember the path. So how to check this? Okay, so before actually using this particular locate command, we will continue with couple of things. First, we will first continue with the explanation what this particular command is. So usage is displays any particular files or directories path. Okay, now what will be our example? A simple thing, locate and then the file name. But before doing this, there is one important step we need to follow. what that particular important step is, I will just show you. Okay, first of all, before going off for this particular command, what I am doing is I'm going back to my mount point, Windows SharePoint, and then I'm just copying one file, any file, let's say this file. I will copy this and I will paste it in my documents folder. Okay, and then this is a random name, so I'm just renaming it to something which I can identify. So I'm just giving the name as ganesh.jpg. Now I need to show you something. I'm coming back here and I'm putting this command locate and then ganesh.jpg. Okay, but it is not giving me any output. Why? Because there is one small step we need to do. We have just recently added this particular file in our documents folder, just let's say 1 minute back, right? So the Linux search database has not updated with this particular entry. It will update by some time with the scheduler running in the background, but we don't have to wait for that happen, because it may take we don't know how much time it will take. So what I'm doing is I'm updating this particular search database manually. Okay, so for that there is an command. So I have put in this note over here. Before running this command, you may need to run sudo update db command to update Linux systems search database to include most recent changes. Okay, remember this is optional, but since we are now currently doing it live, so what I'm doing is I'm just entering this command sudo update db without space. Okay, now it has updated our search database. Now I am clearing and I'm again one more time putting this locate command. Let's see, now it should show us the correct path of this file. Okay, so let me just enter and now you can see it is showing the path /home linux admin documents Ganesh. Because we have updated our database manually, it should automatically update also, but it will take some time, so I have done this manually. Okay, so I hope you got my point. But whatever the files that have been created, let's say 1 hour back or half an hour back, it should locate, because at that time in between the search database is getting updated automatically in the background. Okay, you don't have to do this manually, but very recent files may not have been included in your database. That's why we have run that command manually. I hope I'm clear. If not, you can reverse this video and again listen to this explanation. Okay, so let's go to the next command. So next command is very common one, but very important one, that is ls. Okay, so ls is actually stands for listing your directories or files, everything. So I can put an ls on within any particular uh, directory. Let's see what it is showing currently. If I'm putting ls, it is showing me the Linux admins. We are into Linux admins profile folder, so it is showing me what folders it is containing. It is containing desktop, documents, downloads, then mount, and then music, pictures, public content. So this is a list of directories which has been contained under the Linux admin folder. Okay, so it is giving me the list of subdirectories. I hope I am clear. This is a simple command of ls. Okay, so the usage of it is list down the current directories content, that is subdirectories and files. Okay, so example we have already given ls and then the file path or the directory path. It's a simple command. Okay, next command. Next command is a very technical command, or a simple command you can say. It's man. So the usage of the man command is, uh, it will give you a complete help menu of any particular command whichever you are entering after the man command. Okay, so the usage that displays any particular commands help manual. Okay, so this is the simple man, and then you have to enter the actual command name for which you want the help manual. So let's say example man, and then I'm putting the command as cal. Okay, so let's do this. Let me clear this screen first, then I'm just putting man and putting cal. Okay, cal is command, we have already seen this command previously, but I want a help manual for this, so I'm entering this. So you can see over here the cal or ncal, that means your on screen calculator, if I am not, sorry, on screen calendar, if I'm uh, putting it correct. So the cal utility displays the simple calendar in traditional format, and ncan offers the alternative layout, more options, and the date is here. So if you remember, we have seen that on screen calendar and all. So this is how all the options are there. You can put a b and then other things, you can put the number, you can put the uh, years number, everything, all the options are shown over here. This is the help manual. Okay, so if you want to learn any particular command more in detail, so just put the man and then the command name, so it will give you the complete list of that particular command's options. Okay, so this is how this man command works. Okay, let's move on to the next command. Next command is nano. So nano is like a text editor, means you can edit any file, you can change the content, you can add the content, modify the contents using the text editor. Okay, so usage of it is edits and can change any file's content with proper permission levels, of course, through terminal. Okay, you should be owner of that particular file if you want to edit it and change it to something else, right? It's a simple common sense. So example of it is nano and then the file path, simple. So what I'm doing is putting the nano and then the path of the file, sorry, home, then Linux admin, and then documents. And if you remember, we have created that test file, right? So I will put that file. Okay, now I am hitting enter. You can see it has gone to the editor mode. So if you remember, we have added this file lines over here, this is a test file and all. So just for this testing purpose, now I'm scrolling to the last line and putting one more line. Okay, so I've added one more line, adding a testing line for checking nano functionality. Okay, sorry for this particular thing. Okay, now I have changed something. So in the bottom you can see over here there are a lot of options. If you need to, after changing this, if you need to exit, you can press Ctrl X. So I'm pressing Ctrl X, and it should ask me to save the modified buffer. So I will put Y, capital Y or simple Y. Okay, now it is asking me to file name to write. I'm just putting enter. I don't want to change the name and all. Enter. So we have modified one line over the existing line using the nano editor. That means your command line editor. Now let's go back and check whether our changes have been saved or not. I'm going back to the documents folder, test, say display, and you can see over here this line has been added. So this is how you can edit any particular files contents using the nano command. Now this command is useful if you are not using a GUI mode in Linux. Okay, there are many let's say advanced level of administrators who doesn't like to use the Linux servers or Linux high-end OS distributions in GUI mode. They are more comfortable with the CLI mode or terminal mode or command line mode. So if they want to change any particular file, they can use the nano or VI editors, right? So nano is a simple text-based editor, but it is very useful. Okay, I hope I'm clear with the nano explanation. So let's move on to the next command. Next command is PS. PS stands for processes. So this particular usage of this particular command is displays all current running processes of the system. Okay, so simple, just like you can say a task manager in Windows, you can put it that way. So what I'm doing is I'm just putting PS hyphen A. Let me just go back and see the correct syntax over here through the example. PS hyphen A, yes, correct. And let me hit enter. You can see these many processes are currently running. Okay, you can see over here the keyboard or the component, just a minute, then cinnamon killer and everything, cinnamon, and then your other services also. Okay, so these many services are currently running. Now you can note down the PID of this process ID, and if you want to kill this particular any particular process running, let's say this number 38, so you can use the kill command to kill that particular process. Okay, this is how you can identify a particular process which may be causing problem, and you can kill it using your PID, process ID. This is why this command is useful, to identify the running process and to identify the PID and to kill it if required. I hope I'm clear. Okay, so let's move on to the next command. Next command is pwd. What it is used for? It has been used for displaying the current working directory. So in which directory I am currently working. It is not giving me a clear-cut idea over here that which directory I am currently working. Let's say I'm a bit confused about the current working directory structure, so I'm just putting the pwd, enter, and it will give me the path of the current working directory. So I'm currently working terminal session I'm talking about. So my terminal session is currently working on /home/linuxadmin directory. Okay, this is one small useful command. So example we have already seen, just type pwd and hit enter. It will show you the current working directory. Okay, let's move on to the next step. Next step is reboot. Reboot, as it is self-explanatory, it is rebooting your system, but the problem over here is if you are having access, and if I'm typing reboot over here, it will immediately reboot my system before giving any notifications. Okay, so let me just show you how this particular command is working. I'm just hitting enter, and you can see it has already rebooted. So this command needs to be used by very carefully, because it will directly reboot your system, okay, without giving any further confirmation. So I'm logging with my Linux admin account credentials, since we have rebooted our system using the reboot command. So let's go back to our PPT. So we have seen the reboot command. The usage is simple. It reboots your system immediately. That is important, based on your user's permission level. Okay. So example is simple. Just type reboot and hit enter. Okay. So it will reboot your system immediately. Okay. Let's move on to the next step. So next command is opposite to your reboot. It is shutdown. So this is also self-explanatory. The usage of it shuts down your operating system completely with default 1 minute schedule timer with proper privileges. Now the difference between reboot and shutdown is, reboot is directly rebooting your system without any delay, but shutdown command, once you enter, it will give you 1 minute default timer. After 1 minute your operating system will get shut down. Okay, so example, shut down. So if I'm going to my terminal and if I'm putting shutdown and I'm hitting enter now, so it is giving me 1 minute default timer. After 1 minute the system will shut down. Now let's say if I want to cancel this, so again I have to type shutdown -c. Okay, and now this has cancelled my shutdown command. Okay, if I haven't done that, my system will get shut down in 1 minute. Okay, so shutdown command is at least useful opposite to your reboot command, because reboot command directly rebooting your system. Okay, so as I said, and we have entered also, so enter the following command to cancel the shutdown operation before 1 minute schedule time. So command is shutdown -c. Okay, so we have checked this. Let's move on to the next command. The next command is a bit interesting one. Next command is sort. So what do you mean by sort? This command actually sorts out any file's content in alphabetical or numerical order. Okay, what does that mean? We will see. First of all, let's go back to our system and let me open the original file first. So we have created one file, if you remember, the test one, right? Let me display it on GUI mode. This is our test file. This is a test file and all these 5 lines, everything is there, right? Now let me minimize this and let me open it with the sort command. Okay, so if I'm getting sort and then giving the path of my file, okay, now see the output. It is giving me the output with all the lines are here and there. It is not giving me the same order. The original order is this. This is a test file, don't delete it. But it has sorted out every line with the alphabetical order. So what is the first letter of the alphabetical? A. So it has make the first line as starting with A, then the second line starting with D. But after D, don't both are same, but after that first comes D and second comes E. So alphabetically it is sorting out. Then again the next line with the alphabetical order, this line and the last line. So it is actually alphabetically sorting out my file's content. But to be very frank with you, I don't know what is the use of this particular command, but it can be useful in kind of an Excel or worksheet module where you need to sort out your data alphabetically or numerically. In that way it can be helpful, okay. But for simple text file, it is not having that much meaning. That's what my fair opinion. You may differ. So that is one command, sort. I found it interesting, that's why I've just included it. Okay, so let's move on to the next command. So we have seen this example, sort and your file name. So it will sort out your file's content in alphabetical order. So next command is sudo. Now this is the most common command which Linux administrators are using. This is very important command. So first of all, let's see the explanation of this, what this command does. So sudo command runs any other command or opens or installs or uninstalls any application with super user, or you may call it root level permission level. Okay, so root permission highest level, okay, super user. Now what can be the example for this? So I'm running sudo timesheet gtk. This is for the, you may have seen I have used sudo many times in the earlier videos also. So I'm just typing it, sudo timeshift /gtk, so -gtk. So it is opening my snapshot wizard, that's fine, but it has opened it with the administrative privileges. Okay, so it's same like in Windows when you're right clicking it and saying it run as administrator, right? So whenever you are putting the sudo command before any particular command or before installing any, that means you are giving that command rights to run as an administrator or run as an root level permission. So it is very important command. Now if you remember, we have installed our virtual machine through KVM on Linux Mint, and I have run that command sudo -word manager. That means I am opening my KVM manager window using my root level of permission. Otherwise it would have given me a lot of errors that you don't have permission for this emulator and that and all, right? So this is one particular example we have already seen in the previous video. That's why I want you to recollect that one. Okay, so I want you to understand what is the sudo command. It's a very important command for Linux administrators. Any command which you can run, which you want to run with the administrative privileges or the root level privileges, you need to put the sudo before it. Okay, I hope I'm clear. Let's move on to the next command. So next command is su. So just like sudo, this su is also very important command. What is the usage of it? So allows a terminal session to be switched to another user with password input. Okay, now what does that mean? So currently I have logged in with the Linux admin, but let's say I want to run some terminal commands using another user or using root, but I don't want to log off from my Linux admin GUI session or from my normal session, right? What I can do is I will put su. After that I can put the username of the other user which I want to log in using this terminal window. So but currently in this particular lab setup we don't have a third user. Okay, so I'm just putting su and entering. So why it is asking me password? Because it is assuming that I am logging as an root, so it is asking me for the password of root. So I am putting the password over here, and now you can see I have logged in as an root. Okay, so by default, if after su command, if I'm not entering anything, and if I'm putting the password of root, it will automatically log in as root. But let me again come back here, again to Linux admin. But if I don't want to log in with the root, but I want to log in with some other account, so let's say su and Linux admin is our current this thing. But let's say I have created one more user called Linux user, example I'm just giving. So it will ask for the password for that Linux user. Okay, currently I'm not hitting enter because we have not created that Linux user, but I'm just giving you the example that you can type any user's name which may exist and then put his password, and then that user will get the access for this terminal window without logging off from your current Linux admin session. I hope I am clear. If not, please reverse this video and again listen to this explanation. Okay, so this is how you can use your su command. Okay, so let's come back to our PPT. So example I have already given you. Su, then you have to put the username, then enter, and then you have to put the user's password also, whatever user you want to log in, right? And as I said in the note I have just mentioned, if you are not specifying any username after su command, it will try to switch by default to root account. Okay, so if you know the root account, you can log in with the root account also without specifying the username also. Okay, after su. Okay, so let's move on to the next command. So next command is very interesting. This is wget. Now wget means you can download any particular file through your terminal session using wget. Now what is the usage of it? As I said, downloads a file from web link and saves it in specific location. Okay, so how we can define this example for this particular command? So wget, then the URL, then -p for the destination path to save that downloaded file. So let's see how we can do this. I'm going back to my machine, and for this we may need to access internet for 2 minutes. So I'm just opening my Firefox. This is the first time I'm opening, that's why it is asking me for all those things. So let's close this. I'll open the Google. Now here I am typing a simple search query, like let's say Linux command PDF. Okay, now this is one, let's say link, Linux commands handbook, and it is a PDF one, right? It is directly opening the PDF, but I don't want that. So what I'm doing is I'm just copying this particular link, closing this. Let's come back to our terminal session. Here I am just putting wget and then my URL. You can put upper stroke or you cannot put the upper stroke, that's fine if you don't put the upper stroke also. Just pasting the link over here. Okay, after this I am putting -p, let's see. Yes, and then I'm putting the destination path. Okay, so what I'm doing is just for the safer purpose, I'm just putting the apostrophe also. Okay, it will not harm us anything, so don't want to take any chance. So this is apostrophe. Okay, so this is your URL. Okay, let me just maximize this window first. Okay, so wget, then your URL, apostrophe and apostrophe complete, then hyphen p. After hyphen p, I need to specify the destination path on which I need to save my file. So what I'm doing is I'm going to my downloads folder and I'm giving this path. Okay, copy, paste over here, hyphen complete. Okay, now this completes our command. Let's hit enter. So now you can see it is downloading the PDF and it is saving to this particular path. So this has been downloaded. It's around about 10 MB, and let's go to our path now. Let's see, and you can see this PDF is downloaded. Okay, this way, using the command prompt or terminal window, you can download any file using wget command. Okay, now if you don't specify this hyphen p and the destination file path, it will download, but you will be struggling to get that location where it has downloaded and all these things. This is what my experience is. Maybe some additional experience guys knows where it downloads, but it's better to give you the destination file rather than searching for it afterwards. Okay, so this completes our wget command. Okay, so let's move on to our next command. So command number 25 is simple who am I. So let me clear this and let's see what is the usage. So you want to see currently who is logged in on the machine, so it will show you the current logged in user's name. Simple who am I, who am I, enter, and currently it is showing Linux admin. So it is a simple useful command for verifying which current user is logged in. Okay, so example we have already seen, who am I, enter, simple. Okay, let's move on to the next step. So the next command, command number 25, the last command in this particular lab, this is WC. Okay, WC stands for, I think, word count, correct me if I'm wrong. So it's a simple again command which shows lines, words and letters count of a specific file. Okay, now what is an example? WC and the file path. So let's see, let me enter the command. So I'm entering this particular test file path with the file name also, and before that I have just put in the WC command, right, the word count. So I'm hitting enter now, and you can see now what does this mean, 1137 to 25, what does that mean? Okay, let's go back to our word file. Okay, and let's try to understand what is actually it is showing. Okay, let me close and reopen this. So let's compare and try to understand the results of our wc command. Okay, now it has given us three outputs: 11, 37, 225. What does those numbers means? The first number resembles that how many lines your document contains. Okay, so this is the first line, and after that there is one space, so it is counting that space also. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11. This will be our last line. So 11 lines. Okay, then after lines it has given us the count of your words. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. Total 37 words are there. Okay, and the last count is for letters, means T is equal to 1, H 2, I 3, S 4, like that. Total 225 words are there in this particular whole test file. 225. Okay, so it is actually given us the what do you say, data count, word count, you can say that, how many lines are there, how many what do you say, words are there, and how many letters are there. This is a simple data count command, may be useful for some database administrator. I don't know really, but this is my assumption or something like that. So uh, this command stands for the word count. Okay, so this completes our top 25 commands what I have shortlisted. You may have some other commands also in your mind. So if you want to learn all those commands, you do have all the resources available on net, either on Google or Linux Mint official support site, or Linux is an open source. So there are lots and lots of other documents are also available for all the commands and all. Okay. So let's move on to the second part of this particular video. Now we have completed one first part. Then second part is, now we need to configure our system to boot from the normal GUI mode. By default it is going to GUI mode. We don't want that. We want our system to boot into CMD mode by default permanently. Okay, so you can see there, configuring Linux Mint to boot permanently in secure shell, that is your terminal environment. So what we need to do for this? Okay, so our step is, through Linux Mint terminal session, enter following command. What command we need to enter? Sudo systemctl set default multi-user dot target. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm coming back here, closing this, clearing this. Just for the safer side, I'm reopening the terminal session. Okay, and now I'm entering this command as defined. Sudo systemctl set default multi-user dot target. Okay, this is one time command. Okay, and we need to hit the enter. Okay, so this is a one time command which will switch our system from normal GUI mode to the command mode next time onwards. Okay, enter. So it will give us confirmation that created a symlink in this configuration file for the multi-user target. Okay, let's come back to our PPT. So note, upon completion of above command, system will create a boot link or you may call it entry for booting the Linux Mint OS by default in terminal, that is command line interface mode permanently. That means after each reboot or shutdown session. Okay, so now let's see what can be our next step. So next step is reboot the Linux Mint OS, and you should see system is booting by default into terminal, that is TTY, single user mode, single user command mode, that is TTY. Okay, so let me just exit this and let me reboot this machine once. Okay, so I'm rebooting my machine. Let's see what happens. So now you can see it is not giving me the GUI login. It is directly booting into my TTY level. Now what is this TTY? I will explain you in a bit, in a minute, but let's move on to the next step by the time. What needs to be done over here? Okay, so next is we need to enter our username and following it with our password. So let's do that. So you can see now that I have put in the username as Linux admin and I have entered the password also. Now since it's a TTY, that means a very basic level of command line interface, it is not giving me the star sign also for the password, so that is more secure, because in a remote session or something like that, even with the star, the opposite person, if he is very intelligent, he may find it out that how many stars you are putting in, that means what is the length of your password. So that's what my experience is. So in this secure shell, it is not even giving you the star sign also when you are entering the password. But leave that apart, it's a very basic command line interface every time when I'm rebooting, and this is a permanent one. Okay, now don't afraid if you are thinking that where is my desktop gone, and it has not gone anywhere, but we have logged in with the Linux admin, but we are still on a command prompt only. Okay, so let's move on to the next step. So next step is type startx at terminal window to switch to your user session back to GUI, that is TTY 7 mode. Okay, so I'm just entering the startx, and now you can see my desktop will come. Okay, so this is how you can switch back to your desktop. But if I'm rebooting now, if I'm again shutting down and restarting my machine tomorrow, again it will come to my default TTY1 level, that is command prompt level, single user session mode, that is command line session mode. Okay, so as I said, what are the TTY levels? So TTY0 is halt or shut down the Linux system. TTY1, that's what we have logged in, if you remember over here when we logged in with the command prompt. So TTY1 is a single user text mode, useful for maintenance mode. TTY2 not used. TTY3 full multi-user text mode, multi-user but still text mode, use on Linux servers. TTY4 not used. TTY5 full multi-user GUI mode, you can use Xbox login screen, useful for Linux desktops. Then TTY6 is reboot, and TTY7 is full functional desktop session based on GNOME or KDE or any newer desktop environment. So now when I type that startx and now this desktop has come, now this is our TTY7 level. Okay, not TTY5, TTY7, because it has loaded our genome or KDE environment, desktop environment. I hope I am clear. Okay, so this completes our part 6 for Linux Mint administration video series. Okay, so let's have a quick recap. For those who have not seen my previous videos, you can always see it in my Swaroop IT Solutions playlist. But if you are directly seeing this part 6, that means the last part of this particular series, then for you guys this is a recap one. So we have learned following topics throughout this Linux Mint administration video series. Okay, so in part 1 we have learned introduction to the Linux Mint open source OS distribution. What is Linux Mint and what is the open source OS distribution for Linux, like Ubuntu, SUSE, and other Linux distribution, Red Hat and all. That was a theoretical part. Then secondly, we have installed our Linux Mint version 22 OS distribution installation through our Microsoft Hyper-V platform, that is virtual machines platform, virtualization platform. Okay, through Microsoft Hyper-V. This was part 1. And continuing on the part 1, we have done some basic configuration also, like we have added a couple of users, then we have assigned the passwords to them, and we have assigned our system a local IP address also. Okay, so this completes part 1. Then in the part 2, what we have done, we have done the updating of our Linux Mint version 22 Wilma Cinnamon with latest updates. So we have updated our operating system with the latest updates. Then we have configured some of the keyboard shortcuts manually. Okay, default keyboard shortcuts may be not useful for me, let's say, so I can create my own keyboard shortcuts. So you can refer to that section in part 2 video. Then third one, we have done the mapping and automation for Windows Share mount point access. How to map the Windows Share for one time. If I am rebooting the system, that map will disappear. So how to make it automated? Every time when I am restarting my machine, my Windows Share map should automatically get mounted. So that we have done in the part 2C section. Then in the part 3, we have personalized our Linux Mint version 22 Wilma Cinnamon with desktop wallpaper, then login window background, etc. Okay, and then the major part, we have done the virtualization. We have enabled the virtualization capabilities by installing KVM, that is kernel based virtual machine manager. It's a Linux product, KVM, in Linux Mint version 22. So we have installed the KVM package in Linux Mint version 22 Wilma Cinnamon, and we have installed a nested virtual machine. Means Linux Mint itself is VM. Inside that VM we have installed our KVM, and inside that KVM we have installed another virtual machine as Windows 11. So that Windows 11 called nested virtual machine. We have seen that nested virtual machine also automatically got the internet access, because our Linux Mint is already having internet access. So using NAT technology, network address translation, it has got my nested virtual machine got the internet access also. Okay, so this everything we have covered in part 3. Then the recap continues. So we have learned the following topics throughout this Linux Mint administration video series. So in the part 4, we have learned how to backup and restore my Linux Mint OS with 2 options. First option is through built-in backup tool, that is your data level of backup. That means files and folders we can back up and restore. And the second level is snapshot level. So snapshot level contains your data as well as your system level backup. Suppose if your system files got corrupted, if anything goes wrong to your OS, you can always come back to your snapshot version, the last good snapshot. And we have also learned that snapshot is running daily only if some of the files or any of the file is getting changed. Otherwise it will not run. Automatically it will run in the background as a service. It will compare your current system state. If it finds some difference, it will create that snapshot at that particular time. So there is no defined schedule for a snapshot backup. So in the next part 5, we have learned how to upgrade our Linux Mint 22, that is Wilma Cinnamon edition, to 22.1, that is Zia Cinnamon, through following options. So we have seen two different options for upgrading our Linux Mint operating system. What are those options? First option is of course GUI through Update Manager. That's the simplest way. Through GUI Update Manager, you can directly upgrade from Linux Mint 22 to 22.1. Okay, it's a simple. Edit preferences and you can go to the option upgrade to Zia Cinnamon or whatever the latest one. Okay, simple one. This is GUI way. And second way, through terminal also or through command line interface also we can upgrade by replacing our package sources and repositories. Those things also we have learned in part 5. And in this part, the last part, part 6, we have learned the top 25 useful Linux Mint commands. And the second point we have learned is how to configure our Linux Mint OS for booting in default command line, that is terminal mode, for secure shell environment. Okay, so this completes our series for Linux Mint administration. Okay, so thank you very much for your time, for watching this video and for watching the entire series if you have done so. This is your host from Swarup IT Solutions. If you like this particular video, do share it with your colleagues and don't forget to subscribe my channel. Thank you one more time to all of you. Have a good day.